Oh, hello guys. Oh, I'm so sorry. You must have all left. I made a mistake. I was in a different time zone and I scheduled this stream using that time zone, and that's why I I didn't join on time, and I just noticed it. I've been in travel mode and a little bit reckless, I guess. Okay, hi Satyam. Nice to nice to see you. Well, I'm just going to show this to you today, maybe personally. Hopefully, somebody else can join us today. But if not, well, I guess they can watch a recording. So, we are located in Kurgan. This is the Cathedral of Alexander Nevsky, and that's one of the gems in the city. It has been super hot, and the weather, it's just really hot, and I don't know why, but it feels very humid, and the sun is ruthless, so it's really difficult to walk around right now. So let's enjoy it. This cathedral was built around 1895, and its story started with the Archbishop of Tobolsk coming to Kurgan, and he said, "Oh, we need a new cathedral here." So the person who was hosting him kindly donated 10 rubles, which was quite a lot of money at that time. So they they donated that much, and then during the next half an hour, um, they collected a considerable amount of donations. Everybody just started donating. So later, um, they had almost half what they needed to build this cathedral. Okay, hi, somebody joined. Hello, I'm really sorry if you've been waiting for me. I just explained. I was in a different time zone and I scheduled this stream for this time, but I didn't know it didn't adjust automatically. So I made an honest mistake. We're in the city of Kurgan, and it's another city somewhere behind the Ural Mountains over here. That's such a pretty view. Um, and honestly, I never visited it until yesterday, and I didn't know anything about it. Well, I knew a little bit about it. I didn't know much, and I wasn't sure it was worth visiting. But then yesterday, I took a walk here, and I thought, wow, yeah, this is definitely worth showing. I think there are some parts of it that are really nice. And this is the city garden. Um, all around the city, they have all sorts of maintenance and cleaning. So also they have very long traffic lights. I don't know why it's like that. Um, that can hinder a little bit our excursion. So let's see. Okay, hi Charity. Um, it is 8:35 in the morning, and I think it's a pretty lazy town. Not a lot of people are around. Maybe right now that we are in the center, people will be more around than when I was walking to the tour. Oh, they have such beautiful flowers. I'll tell you about that. In before there wasn't much growing in Kurgan, and there wasn't much going on here. Really, it was okay. The name Kurgan comes from a Turk word, which means a burial site, and they say that it's called this way because some Han's daughter was buried here at the site, so that's why they called it this way. Um, Before it was officially named Kurgan, it was named Tsarevo Городище, which stands for Tsar's big city. But it was a very misleading name because it wasn't a big city at all. Okay, somebody else joined. Hello. Good good day. I don't know, morning, evening, whatever. Um, like I said, it's really hot here and I'm already melting. And you see, we still have a lot to wait, so we will just look at this street. Um, yeah, really not a very interesting street, but we are going to walk further and it's going to be great. So this city officially, the official date of founding the city of when the city was founded is 1679, and then it gained the status of the city in the 1800s, like 100 years later. So it's pretty old, and it's the capital of Kurganskaya Oblast, of Kurgansky region, and it's small. It's it's small oblast that borders with Kazakhstan, and from here to my hometown, it's about 3 hours ride by bus. But I never thought there was anything quite interesting here, so I never visited. But I was wrong, I think. We don't know a lot what was going on when the city was founded, how exactly it happened, of course, but a lot of people kind of were fighting for it. Um, some Kazakhs, Mongolians, all kinds of ethnic minorities that later joined Russia. So there have been quite a lot of fighting over this land, and then it became part of Russia. So the fighting stopped, and it was quite peaceful from then on. One of the most interesting chapters of the city, in my opinion, is the part when the Decembrists came to live here, and this was the moment when the city gained culture and local people gained a lot, and most of the historical monuments we have right now are connected with this time. Oh, and I really love this graffiti. I'm just gonna come a little bit closer right now. I don't know if I can walk here. Yesterday, when I took a picture, there was an old lady sitting at that bench, and It just looked a little bit surreal. Oh, okay. Like a door nowhere. And especially if you notice that there is an old rundown wooden house in that window. I think really cute. Well, back to the Decemberists. I asked my American husband yesterday, do you know who the Decemberists were? And, and he said, the band? You mean the band? And I thought, oh, well, he must be kidding me. And I think he was. So, but maybe if you don't know that, which is totally fine, the Decemberists were mostly noblemen, and mostly they were people who fought in wars, mainly had leadership roles. They, in 1825, they rebelled against the Tsar, and the reason was because they thought it was not fair how some people in the country were treated. So they have quite a lot of houses like that, the brick houses, and I'm going to show you a little beautiful house in a moment. Um, it's not stated who lived here, but I assume it must be some kind of a merchant because mostly merchants lived in houses like this, in nice houses. Over here has a little balcony. So in Russia, we didn't have what was called slavery, but we had a form of slavery, I would say. Um, we had people who worked on land which were called peasants, and basically like slaves, they belonged to a person and they had very limited rights. um, I don't think they could quit their job, or they basically couldn't improve their own life. They didn't have the right to do this. And a lot of people, a lot of noblemen who were very educated, they thought that this was not fair. Just a second. So the noblemen thought it wasn't fair. They were educated and they traveled a lot and they could speak different languages, and some of them didn't even have to work if they didn't want to. So a lot of them thought it wasn't fair. In particular, they were looking at the experience of Europe, where there was no slavery at that time, and how productive the people in Europe were. Oh, this is a little church which my husband found yesterday. It's really pretty, quite unusual. Maybe it's not a church. He said it's a church. I don't think so. And has this beautiful sculpture. Oops. Here, an elephant on the turtle. Oh, I wonder what it is. And a beautiful house on top of it. So it carries it. Maybe it's a church. Sorry, I don't know about this particular house. So um, the noblemen, the educated people, wanted to fight the world fight the fact that it was all unfair, and they decided to share their ideas with the Tsar. At that time, the Tsar was Nicholas the First, and he didn't take the ideas well. He thought it, well, he didn't listen to anyone because he thought that he was the person who had the power and the authority to decide what to do. And then the nobleman decided to rebel against the Tsar, and it happened in December of 1825. That's why the people are called the Decembrists. And they had different societies that were all philosophers and free thinkers. And I think what made them not very successful is the fact that they were not united and they didn't stand against the Tsar together. So they failed, and a lot of them were captured and tried, and some of them were even killed, beheaded, and some of them, I mean, most of them were sent to work in the mines. And then I think after several years of working in the mines, they were sent to live in Siberia permanently. So there are several cities behind the Urals where the Decembrists lived, and it was a very great gift for these cities, even though the people suffered, the Decembrists themselves suffered, but the people of those cities were really lucky to have met the Decembrists because they had knowledge, and knowledge was power then, and they had certain skills that they didn't have. So it was all really beneficial for those cities. And Kurgan happened to be one of those cities where during the course of 1830 to 1855, there lived 13 Decembrists. They didn't live here all together, but they took turns. So this is one of the houses of one Decembrist. His name is Rosen, and this Decembrist had a superpower. He was really good at planting and gardening, and here this little garden is the symbol of him being a great gardener, and he brought a lot of crops to this land, and he made he made cherry trees here popular. This was his house. What is very interesting that his wife also followed him. These women were called the Decembrist wives, and they followed their husbands because they thought that it was their place next to them, and they're considered to be heroes. And these are the plants that we can see here. Some thistle, some flowers, and there is a plate to commemorate him. Think. Oh no. Oh yeah, right, sorry. That's a historical garden of Baron Rosen. Even though those Decembrists were noblemen, it didn't always mean that they were rich. Some of them had to work for a living, But this man, Rosen, was actually pretty rich, and there were a couple of Decembrists whose families were still rich, and they sent them money to buy nice houses, uh, because the point of it was the point of exile for them was to live um, and a little bit of an uncomfortable life, to live far far from the people. They were not allowed to spread their ideas, everything like that. So if the family was rich, they could send the Decembrists the money to buy a house or buy a house for them. But if they weren't rich, then they had to live with what the government gave them, or somehow make their living. And the government didn't give them much. So there it was. Just a second, I need to walk a little bit further. So the Decembrist wives were mostly treating people. They were nurses, they knew a lot about medicine, and they played a great part in educating the society. And one of the Decembrists who's lived here over 15 years and also passed away, his name was Vogt, and he got ill working in the mines, and he knew that there was nobody to help him. Yeah, I think so too, Gregory. The residences look remarkable. Unfortunately, overall in the city, they are not trying to make everything look, unified and nice. And they made mistakes in building places that weren't so nice. Um, so that man thought that he got really ill. He had tuberculosis and another disease. And he knew that there was nobody to help him but himself. So he took a lot of time and he studied. He studied really hard, and he helped other people as well with what he knew. They collected plants and they made their own remedies, and he was happy to share the knowledge. Um, this is not the house of the Decembers, but it's a trading house of one of the merchants of Kurgan. So it dates back to the end of the 19th century. Here, I'm going to show you, I think, the best looking house here in Kurgan in a moment. That house didn't belong to the Decemberists, but it's a piece of art. It's an art school right now, and it's a memorial of people's woodwork. And this is just a regular, everyday Russian town. Like, that's coming here. Looks a little bit like somebody from a fairy tale lives here. And now it's an art school and a place for all kinds of crafts and hobbies. This is a remarkable house, in my opinion. So, over here, over here. Waiting. Okay. Now, I need to walk through not a very beautiful part, just the new buildings, but there is another Decemberist house waiting for us a little bit ahead, and I really want us to see it. So let's do it. In the meantime, I wanted to continue the story of the Decemberists. There was a man, a Decemberist, his name was Kurgan, and he was a very honest and a very noble man, and he couldn't stand the unfairness of everything that was going on. So uh, when he came to Kurgan, he started working for the municipality, and he was teaching the people. Yeah, he was teaching the peasants to fight unfairness with the paperwork. So he taught the people to file the complaints and other different useful things. He was really disliked by the authorities um, because he was considered to be a dangerous person. So he was then forced to go to a different place and not to come back to Kurgan because he had a big influence on people. And then there was another man, his name was Wilhelm Küchelbecker, and he was a school friend of one of the greatest Russian poets, Pushkin. They were classmates at school, so he was a poet, even though he wasn't in the army. He was just a simple poet. He took an active part in being a Decembrist, and so he had to pay the price. He was considered also a very, very dangerous person and a very bad influence. So he was not even allowed to live in this town. He had to live in the in a different smaller town nearby here, and it really took a toll on his health. I think later he was allowed to move closer to other Decembrists to live here, and his sister got him a house, and he almost he got almost he almost lost his eyesight. Sorry, he almost lost his eyesight because of his hard work at the mines and because he was so isolated, and he was taking it very with a lot of difficulty. But here in Kurgan, he wrote one of his uh, most beautiful poems, and that house that's coming for us on the yellow house that's coming to us on the right is another house of the Decembrists. So the people, the poorer Decembrists, didn't have nice houses, like I said, and they didn't um, stay to this day. Only the house of Rosen, and this is the house of a Decembrist whose name was Narishkin, and his distant relative, like a far relative, was mother of Peter the Great. So they were really noblemen, those people, and they got themselves a nice house. And he lived here with his wife. So this was the house museum of the Decembrists. That's a nice house. He only lived here for 4 years, but they made a great impact. Their couple made a great impact on everything here. They had their Friday club, and all of the Decembrists, and there were also some Polish people who were sent to exile to live in Kurgan, and they all befriended, and they had their Friday teas. And the reason why it was on Friday, because they received their mail on Thursdays. Okay, I'm back. So I said that they were talking on Fridays because they received their mails on Thursdays, and they had some news to discuss. And Narishkins helped the other Decembrists, and they did a lot of charity work and helped the people of Kurgan. And this is a nice mosaic. I'm really sorry that my connection isn't so good today, but that's I'm my tour is coming to an end right now. I wanted to show this beautiful church. Yes, very impressive. This beautiful church and the view to the river. Just a second. This city is located on the river that's called Tobol, the Tobol River, and there is a little picture that shows us what it supposedly looked like before. Just approaching it. That's the Church of Holy Trinity. Very beautiful. And over here is the people are thinking that this is what this place looked like before. And there is an eagle, the symbol of the city. Now the city burned numerous times as it was made of wood, and they even had to have a special law to build brick houses, like to start building brick houses in the 19th century because it burned so many times. So, thank you so much for staying with me, and I hope you have a good day. Bye.